Hey, my friend. I wanted to make another video about the topic of hell in Christianity. And I woke up this morning long before the alarm was supposed to go off, and I couldn't fall back asleep. And my mind was churning about the video that I made yesterday about this topic. And I decided to go ahead and get up. And I was thinking this morning about this beautiful phrase from Rumi. He says something like, the morning breeze has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. And so I guess you could say that the morning breeze was whispering secrets this morning. So I'm sure you can hear the birds. It's a beautiful morning, actually. It was raining last night. And so there's this nice kind of coolness in the air. And the birds are very happy this morning. The helicopters are already rolling. But I guess it's like 4:35, something like that. So anyway, yeah, I made this video yesterday. And I kind of just, it was kind of just pulling the Band-Aid, breaking the ice. And I looked back at the video, and I had like sweaty armpits, and I kept clearing my throat. I guess my acid reflux is worse than I thought it was. It's all kind of embarrassing, but I decided to go ahead and post it anyway, because I guess that's what I need to do, is kind of get over all that. So anyway, the topic of hell. What I started talking about yesterday was a very loaded topic, and there's a lot to be said. And there was a lot of things that I didn't say that I wanted to say. And what I initially was expressing was, first of all, the sort of the spiritual journey that I've been on over over my lifetime. And I expressed that I had gone through a deconstruction of my Christian faith, growing up in the church, and a series of circumstances happened that caused me to begin questioning. And somebody once described the process of deconstruction like pulling a centerpiece thread in a tapestry or a rug, and you pull on it, and if you keep pulling on it, the whole thing just completely unravels. And that's what happened to me. As I kept asking the questions, I kept pulling on the thread, and my faith completely unraveled. And so there's so much that I am ready to talk about and want to say on this channel about that. But for starters, the topic of hell, it's a pretty big topic if you grew up in the church, and it's an idea that is incredibly pervasive and influential in the world and throughout human history. And so it's an important topic for that reason, I think. And it's also important because if you believe it's real, if you believe people are going there, and it's a serious thing. It's kind of an emergency. And so the topic of hell. I suggested yesterday that many people, many Christians, and then myself included, that we dissociate from the idea or the notion of hell. And I wanted to unpack that a little more, because I've kind of been thinking about that and sort of integrating knowledge I have in different schools, different fields. Some of these ideas are from psychology. Of course, I'm no expert in anything, but I guess I know a lot about a little thing. I know a little bit about a lot of different things, and so I find that I'm a connector. Like I connect dots from this idea over here and this idea over here and bring them together. And so some of the things I was connecting yesterday, and I guess I hadn't fully thought thought all about it, but this notion that we dissociate from our belief in hell is like kind of because it's a traumatic, it's a scary idea. And so so I want to first say that, like, by saying that I think Christians dissociate from it, I'm not singling them out. And maybe it would be helpful to summarize the way I understand this concept of dissociation. Every person dissociates to some degree, and dissociation happens when we encounter a painful experience that is too much for us, and so we sort of shut down. It's perhaps our body's way of defending ourselves, but we can't feel the pain, and so we disconnect from it. And so for people that have gone through real significant trauma, something violent, something abusive, this can be a very dramatic form of dissociation. But we all dissociate to one degree or another, even on things that may not be perceived as traumatic. But life is inherently traumatic. Being born is traumatic. So we all go through traumas, and we all try to escape pain. And so painful experience happens, and we don't want to face it. We don't want to feel it. So we push it aside. We brush it under the rug so that we can keep our happy face and pretend that it isn't there and not face the pain. And the irony is that we actually need to feel the pain when there's a reason we feel it. And we don't really push it away. We bury it, and it stays in us. And so eventually that pain comes back. Stuff comes up, right? Eventually in your life it's going to come up. And you're going to have to face it in one way or the other. And so that's what I'm talking about when I talk about dissociation. And so in regards to hell and the theological notion that unbelievers, which you can logically conclude in most Christian circles that's like a large portion of the population, that billions and billions of people who do not believe the gospel as it is taught by evangelical Christianity, or we could say evangelical Christianity in the West. They see that the rest of the world, the unbelieving world, will go to hell and spend an eternity, all of eternity, separated from God. Will never be able to find redemption. And so this idea, it's existential. Like it's a really terrifying idea if we really allow ourselves to think about it. The idea that our Creator, the one who, as David put it in the Psalms, how did he put it? Fearfully and wonderfully made. That he was known even in the womb by his Creator. The idea that the Creator of your soul, the Creator of your body, the Creator of everyone around you, the Creator of everything around you, everything. You hear those birds? The Creator, the breather of life, who breathes life into Adam. Who sustains all things, like the Apostle Paul. He was quoting some Greek aphorism when he said this. Something like, in him and through him and by him we move Like God is in everything. And the notion that this God, this creator, sends a certain portion of his population that he created, that he fearfully and wonderfully made, that he will send them to a place of eternal torment for forever and ever and ever. That's a really terrifying, terrible idea. It's kind of traumatizing. If you're a child and you hear a preacher talking about that, hellfire and brimstone preacher, that's traumatizing. It's an awful idea. And so I really do think that Christians dissociate from this idea. It's too terrible to really go there. And then you get into the whole, how do I know my salvation is real? Like, when I was a kid, I prayed and I accepted Jesus into my heart because I needed to be saved, right? But then I sinned afterwards. And then all this doubt, what if it's not real? What if I'm not really saved? It's terrible enough to think that all the people around you are going to hell. It's also terrifying to think I could go there and there's nothing I can do about it. I was thinking about this. I'm going to use this analogy, and it's, I understand that it could feel heavy-handed to some people, because I think that there's a certain time where I would have thought this heavy-handed, but this belief in hell to me, most Christians, especially like in the cities, most modern Christians that go to, regular modern evangelical churches, you could say many of them are kind of seeker-friendly. They're very high vibe places often. They got great music, everybody's friendly, there's good energy, and the sermons have a lot to do with just like I said in the last video, loving your neighbor and living in community and serving other people, life transformation and that kind of thing. And where am I going with that? What I want to say is this belief in hell alongside that lifestyle, to me it's kind of like a person who is in we could say a marriage, a relationship, or a marriage, and they're living together, and this person is living with a partner, and this partner love bombs them. If you're not familiar with love bombing, it's kind of become a popular term as of late. It's like when you're in a relationship with a narcissist and then they just love you and do all these things for you and bring you flowers and serve you and then pull away. And they call it love bombing. So you're in this relationship with this person, and they love bomb you, and they do all these great things for you, and you love them, right? You love the way they make you feel. But there's this thing that you know about them. They actually have a dungeon in the basement, and there's people that this person keeps down there, and you're not really sure what goes on down there, but you've heard it's not good. And so in the back of your mind, there's always this sense of like, yeah, this person loves me and I love this person, but I gotta be careful. Because they do have a dungeon down there. And they do put people there. And that to me is what modern Christianity in the West, the schools at least that believe in an eternal damnation, that to me is what that's like. And I think every Christian should really take that analogy to heart and think very deeply about that. It's an uncomfortable idea if you haven't thought about it. And it might bring up a lot of fear and discomfort in you, because it's one of those big questions that can start to undermine your faith, right? And of course, it's one of the big things when you're a Christian, at least the really good churches, they talk about doubt all the time, because doubt is an essential part of faith. You're going to have doubts. But this doubt, this is a big one. This is a big doubt when you start thinking about it. And that kind of doubt can be very uncomfortable, because if you're a part of a Christian community, if you're, really plugged into your church, and you start asking questions like this and start coming into conclusions about things that you could say are unorthodox, it can be very, it can be uncomfortable. And which brings it kind of the next thing is this ingredient of fear. When I was a young Christian, I thought it was love that motivated me, but I see now that it was fear most of the time. So anyway, I once again was a little bit long-winded, and I digressed a lot, but I wanted to unpack that, and I wanted to share that analogy. And I'll just leave it here, that I think if you are a sincere Christian and you believe that hell is a real place, then I challenge you to go there and to really think deeply about what it means, and ask yourself if you are dissociating from the implication of such an idea. There's more to say about that, but I'm going to leave it there.